All right, good evening, everyone. Call this meeting to order. Stand for the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we don't have any speakers for the Citizens Forum, so we're going to get started right away. So thank you all for being here. I'm going to ask all the questions, and then we'll let the board ask any follow-up questions after you answer the question. And then at the end, we'll also open it up to the board if any questions came up that they'd like answered. We all have ballots in front of us, and Kevin's name is at the top. So he's going to answer the first question first. The second question will be answered first by Josh, and the third question will be answered first by Alice. Give you all an opportunity to speak first. So we're going to get started. First, if you could please just tell us about yourself, introduce yourself, including any professional information that you believe would advance your candidacy for being a member of the Pulaski Community School District Board of Education. So we will start with you, Kevin.
My name is Kevin Hardy. I've lived in the district for a few years. My kids have gone to the district since Sunnyside. I currently, I'm a disabled veteran. I currently don't have a formal employment. I'm going to NWTC for carpentry as a retrain. That's kind of me in a nutshell.
Okay. All right, Josh.
Josh Collidy. I've been in this district pretty much my entire life. I had a short stint in Ashwaubenon when I met my wife. Got 5 kids. Got 1 out of school. I have 3 currently in Pulaski schools, and I have 1 at home causing all kinds of trouble. I work for the Village of Pulaski right now. September 11th will be a year there for me. Decided to find a position that was closer to home, get more involved in the community. This is one of the first steps I want to take in that. Spent 14 years with a company out of Green Bay that basically ran a nationwide network of ATMs. I've run anything from projects, management teams, acquisitions, takeovers. I've done all that kind of the business side. Plus, then I've developed programs to basically train employees, review metrics, things like that. As far as professional aspect of that, I have a lot of management and personnel type management experience. So I have a lot of dealing with people, different HR situations, things like that.
Excellent. Thank you. Alice.
Hi, my name is Alice. I am new to the community. I moved here in January, and I have a 3rd grader this year, my son. He comes here to Glenbrook. And I have a daughter who homeschools, although I'd really love her to attend the middle school after touring it. She's just not there yet. The reason I want to be involved is my experience from this last school year that just happened was so amazing. And my son loves the school so much, so I love the school as much as he does. And when I saw the vacancy for the little town that I live in, I felt like it was kind of, I wanted to put my name on the ballot just because I want to support my son. The school district I come from with my children, it's a lot different than what's offered here. My children, I felt like they're very underprivileged. So I see so much wonderful, great things here. And I would really like to be a part of that and help it continue for future families moving here and also, of course, my own family as they go through the system. As far as experience, I've never been on a board before. I don't really know anybody here, but I do have managerial experience. I'm a truck driver. My husband and I, we own our own trucking company. I have managed large fleets of truck drivers, and I'm sure I have something that I can bring to the table, and I just really want to be part of something that I believe is so wonderful and great.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, board members, do you have any follow-up questions to those answers? All right. Next one, Josh will answer first. What do you feel the role of a Board of Education member is?
I think a Board of Education member first as an advocate for the people of their constituency. most people, their information only comes during these meetings that we have here. And then in the day and age we live in, I feel that social media takes over and runs rampant. I feel that we can be an advocate for this kind of stuff and add clarity to the things we're talking about. Therefore, I think a lot of people can take that clarity and apply it to themselves and their basic needs and what they're looking for out of school. So that's why I think that's the first thing that you need. I bring a lot of empathy to this kind of a role like this. There are so many different people in this area. We serve such a large, population. From all the way, on the edges of Green Bay to the northern part, up by Gillette. And I think just being an advocate and spreading that information and being someone that can take that information and get it to everybody is one of the things that I really look forward to in this.
Good. Alice?
So again, I've never been on a board, so this is all new to me, but I do feel that it's an act of service for the community that I live in. And I would like to be somebody where I can take concerns that I see. Maybe there's people that might post on social media or people that might come up and talk to me personally, but I'd like to be someone that could bring up concerns to the board in meetings or workshops and try to help maybe bridge a gap, because sometimes I do feel like there could be a gap just from quietly watching things unfold over this past year between what I see on social media and what I've seen watching board meetings. So I just, like I said, I knew all this, but I just feel like you're doing an act of service for your community, and that's really important to me.
Good. Thank you.
I believe the board members, first and foremost, they're the voice of the community. Providing a community service, make sure the parents and families of the district are represented at the school or at the school district. I believe I could bring fresh ideas, a little different perspectives. Being of like a mechanic type mindset, I like to see the whole picture. I can see all the little parts moving and stuff, and then you can understand why this works over here because of this happening over there. I do have some experience on a board. I was served as the commander of my VFW post in Green Bay. I also served as commander of my Legion post in Abrams. I believe I can take some of that experience and those skills and stuff and apply them to the school board.
Thank you. Any follow-up questions?
I do have
Okay.
one.
Yeah.
Okay. And it kind of goes to what you said, Kevin, about being an advocate for your constituency and that we do have a large population. It's a common misperception in our district that we are zoned for our positions, but once you're on the board, you actually speak for the entire school community. So I just wanted to see if you guys understood that part of it, because it is a little bit confusing how we do get elected onto the board, but then speak for the entire population. So not just your zone, not just your neighbors, not just the people that you necessarily speak with, but all of the 7 schools. Is that something that you guys understand and are willing to take under advisement when you're making decisions?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Next one, we'll go to Alice first. What do you feel is the most important issue facing our district, and how would your life experiences help us in working towards improving or resolving the issue?
Oh, I got the trickiest question, and I'm new here. I don't have a really good answer for that because I'm new and I don't want to, just make up things. But like I said, I do see that there's some really heavy issues right now with the board, and I understand both sides. I understand the community being outraged about things. I understand the board with the legality end of it, and that's very important. So all I can do is say, I want to be somebody who is open-minded, who's fair, who can understand, the legal side of it from my business experience, that there are certain rules you need to follow with these things, but also with, I guess, my people skills and managing people, a way to deliver it to people that might not understand why the board made a decision that day that they don't agree with. But as far as, what to fix here are huge issues, I'm sorry, honestly, I don't know.
Okay. All right, do you want me to read it again, or are you set?
Yeah, if you could repeat it.
Okay. What do you feel is the most important issue facing our district, and how would your life experiences help us in working towards improving or resolving the issue?
Obviously, the biggest concern, and not just for this school board, but school boards in general, they've been facing a lot of scrutiny in the public eye and stuff. And some boards are pretty rigid in their responses to concerns from the community. I believe that we need to listen to the community. Ultimately, we serve them and our children in this community. So I understand there's certain things that we can't do, other for parental wishes due to legalities or just logistics of things. But I do believe that we need to be better advocates to our community. And I believe I could do that with some of my past leadership roles and stuff in different organizations.
Okay. Josh.
Hey, I guess I would say I would use the word accountability. And I know a lot of people look at that in a negative connotation. But I had a lot of training and stuff like that to talk about accountability. Accountability can mean a lot of things, from being accountable for fiscal decisions. That comes to everybody's mind right away. Accountability, just for your actions and needs. But I like to spread that on to the fact that you want to be accountable for how you make people feel, whether they agree or disagree with you, how you make your students feel. You should be accountable for decisions you make. And basically, like I said, I'm going to reiterate how you treat others. And I think that accountability is one of the things that I'd like to focus on the most. And it doesn't mean that any decisions made in the previous are wrong or anything like that. It's just that we make sure that your accountability is on par with how you want your messages really.
All right. Any follow-up questions? Okay. All right, next one, we'll go to Kevin first. Is it important for school board members to be visible in the schools and or at school events? If so, how do you plan to be visible?
I believe that holding an office like this would be, you represent the face of the school district. So I do believe it's important to be involved with the community, to interact with people so they can get to know you. Also, it gives them a chance to voice their concerns and stuff, which we could bring back to the board and discuss it, make decisions on that. Being out in public, going to sporting events and concerts and other school functions would be a great way to accomplish that.
Yeah, one of the things I wish that more people in this community would know is about all the events and things that happen here. I kind of had missed out on that, having younger kids and then being out of the district. But then now I'm, kids in band going to Chillerific and things like that on these APTT nights, things like that. I like, you'll actually see me there. I know I ran into most of you here. I usually have my toddler with me terrorizing, but I think it is essentially important as a school district member to be at these functions. Now, obviously life gets in the way. You can't be at everything, but I think making yourself available to people is part of this office. It doesn't mean you have to set your whole life aside, but going to functions, seeing people at book fairs, parent-teacher conferences. We all have seen the work that these PSO and things have done at these schools, their events. I know, obviously I have a little bias from Fairview because I've sent so many kids through that system, but their trunk or treats and things like that. It's great stuff. It's the stuff that I wish that a lot of the people who don't have kids in the district don't get to see on a normal basis because they don't get the mailers and things like that. But I think it's important that we be present as a board member, and I think it's important to spread that message to everybody else that all this cool stuff happens too. And we have a lot of cool stuff that happens at this district.
I I feel that it is very important, and as a newcomer here, the various names that I've seen on the board on social media that do make postings of things happening, I find that very valuable for my family, because a lot of times I don't know about these things. So I will see this come across being shared on the various hometown Facebook groups by board members, that there is events happening, that they would be there. And so myself, as a member of the public, I see that as a wonderful opportunity where if I did have a concern, I could go meet a board member, kind of seek them out, be a stalker, whatever, and bring up my concerns to them. So if I was on the board, I would feel that I myself should also be available for these events where people could approach me if they wanted to. And again, like both these gentlemen have said, we're representing our district. And so I feel that it is important to be part of the community and available, and showing them that, you are involved in this district, and that way they can feel comfortable in the decisions that you are making on their behalf.
Good, thank you. Any follow-up questions? All right. Josh, this one's for you. Could you support a board decision you did not vote in favor of? Why or why not? If you could, how would you communicate support without truly believing in it?
You can support things that you don't believe in, or I shouldn't say don't believe in. Technicalities get in the way a lot of times of what constituents would like to see and what you would like to see. So sometimes you may you may disagree with a certain portion of something, but don't disagree with the idea at whole. I think at the end of the day, we have to look as a board member at what is best for the student population as a whole, what's best for the teaching population as a whole, and what's best for the community as a whole. So even though your personal opinion or something you couldn't completely get behind gets passed without your support, you have to, I think, really focus on the fact that there are a lot of people in this district that could have a very positive impact too. I say one thing that if anybody who knows me, I always say, people need different things at different points of their lives. It's not a one-size-fits-all type thing. So it's hard, you may not exactly agree with the language of something or how something works, but that doesn't mean that you have to ignore what everybody else needs.
Thank you.
So if you ask my mother, this is a huge flaw of mine, but I think that it's a rarity. I am somebody who believes very strongly in fairness and hearing people out, and I don't always go with what you see on the outside type thing. And example, like my daughter, I have an adult daughter, she has a boyfriend, my family hates him, but I always try to see the good in that. So I feel that I'm very fair, and if things were to come to the board, I feel I would be very fair in hearing all sides. And if the board ultimately decided something against what I had voted on, I also feel that I have the professionalism, the capability to accept that, because that's what my peers, the board, have decided is best for the students. I'm not someone who's going to sit here and stomp my feet and try to argue with people. I can accept, realities, but I also feel it's very important, like I said, to be fair and hear all sides of the story before making decisions. So a long story short, I guess, would be if the board thought something against what I believed, I could accept that, yes.
Right, good, thank you.
Well, my experience is you can't please everybody. There's always going to be someone that is disappointed or angry about a decision that was made or something that was passed. My experience dealing with being an officer on the veterans organizations, I dealt with a lot of that. There were several things that we voted on as officers, and they did not agree with it. Sometimes things got a little heated. You just gotta have to sit down sometimes with them, explain why it happened or why it won't work the other way. Everybody thinks a different way. So the way I would process, a certain thing wouldn't be the same way you would or you would. And we would all understand something a little differently. But I believe open communication is where you can mitigate a lot of that, especially when someone gets really heated with something. And I wouldn't agree with it, necessarily everything that the board would vote on, but at the end of the day, you'd have to get behind it, stand, and people that question it, you can explain it to them why this happened or how it had to happen because of other things that they might not have seen. Being able to look at the whole picture.
Good. Any follow-ups? Okay. All right, Alice, this will be yours. This role carries a significant responsibility to learn about public education, finance, and board governance. What is your plan to learn what's necessary to become an effective, well-informed board member?
My first step, honestly, is to talk to the other board members and see what I need to learn, and then based on your recommendations, I'm gonna find where I need to get that knowledge and learn what I need to do to be a productive member of the board.
Okay, thank you.
Like I said before, I have a very mechanical mindset. I like to see all the moving parts. I'm also one to kind of dive into things. I like to learn as much as I can about whatever particular situation or job that I'm responsible for. And like I said, I like to see the whole picture and then making decisions based off of that.
Thank you.
So I guess I've kind of been doing this for a little while. I had conversations with Barb previous to this about actually after this term was going to do this. So I've been kind of doing my homework. I was one of those people I always creep in the background. There's the technology we have today allows us to obviously tap in, follow things along. So I mean, I've watched a lot of what happens here. My biggest thing is trying to understand the day-to-day business operations. Last couple meetings, we talked about Budget 101 and things like that. I guess before, being part of a board and learning, obviously Robert rules of order and how meetings happen, things like that. I've experienced that. You start that student council, FFA, 4-H, I've done all that. But I think the biggest thing is a lot of people from the outside perspective don't have the ability to learn how the school operates as day to day. We all assume teachers come into the door, children come in, and then all the magic happens that allows that to happen. And there's just so much more to it. So I think like my biggest start would be in the business office side of things. Like, how do the day-to-day operations of this, where do the ideas and plans and things like that, your facilities departments and your teacher supports and things like that, how does this all get laid out? Because I think before anybody can go there and decide, like, I have, I'm going to form opinions and I'm going to make changes and things like that, I think you have to understand how it actually works first. And then once you can understand how it works, then I think that gives us the opportunity to work on improvements and make suggestions and things like that.
Good, thank you. Any follow-ups on that one? All right. We'd love to celebrate our staff. Could you tell us something else we should be celebrating in this district right now? Starting with Kevin.
Well, I think great achievements should be recognized, as well as staff. I believe students, when they achieve greatness, should be recognized for any awards or trophies, whether it be sports or academics. I think everybody needs some recognition for the great things that they do.
Good, thank you.
I think I'd like to start recognizing the community as a whole. I mean, they provide the foundation that all this can be built on. They provide students to come to school. A lot of our teachers are in this community, and our administrators, obviously board members and things like that. But I think the community as a whole, the one thing that I see a lot is people who don't have kids in school anymore lose touch with school. And I think that being able to show community members who don't have a direct tie to school at the current moment, how much the community or how much the schools appreciate them and what they do to provide what we have to work with. So that's where I would say.
Again, so I don't know if you're already recognizing some of these people, but I mean, the crossing guards, they're wonderful. I don't know if they're volunteers or if they're staff. Students, you know, there's students that they are working hard, and I don't know if a lot of students get recognition for their work that they're doing, or maybe good behaviors, maybe something outside of the school, like if they're doing a community service type thing, you know, because a lot of these programs like the 4-H and the FFAs, they do things like that. So again, I don't know who all's getting recognized right now, and I apologize if they already are, but I just, again, as someone who's new here, I see this district, and this district is something that we should all be so very proud of. And I feel that there's a lot of people that put a lot of unseen work into making this district what it is, and that's just so beautiful.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes our 7 formal questions. So now we're going to open up to the board to ask you specific questions individually or as a group. So whoever would like to start there.
I don't have any questions. I just wanted to thank all 3 of you for taking your time to do this today. You did it. I mean, answering the questions was phenomenal. So thank you for taking your time. I can only vote for one of you, but thank you very much for being here tonight.
Appreciate that, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
I guess I have a question to start with. Including Mr. Steve Legal, are there people on the board that you already know?
No.
Kevin?
I recognize Dennis Kaminsky from Patriot Golf Course, and he's also a member of the Legion Post.
They ran their meetings at our clubhouse, so I never attended the meetings, sorry, but they were held there.
I've met Heidi before. She probably doesn't remember at Pillars of Education. I sat at Allison's table for that. When my wife was on PSO, we got invited to come in there, and it was great. It was an outside perspective, but I know I met Heidi before, APTT. We sat and played with my daughter and tried me nuts. I was about a year or 2 ago, and and I've seen Jennifer. I've seen you in the community, but I just know who you are. I know we've crossed paths at events before, but we've never met. So.
Okay. All right. And you said that you had kind of talked with Barb already about.
Yeah. So if you. I've known Barb my entire life. I mean, Charlie, her husband, was my t-ball coach. Her son Greg and I, we hung out a lot. We both worked on race cars growing up. Her brother-in-law raced, and that's a neighbor of mine. So I've known Barb through 4-H and everything like that. My family is very involved in 4-H. We have animals at the fair right now. So I knew Barb very well, and we had discussions because she had kind of informed me that this was going to be it for her this last term. And she was looking for somebody that would be interested in taking the position. So her and I had conversations. I was able, luckily, while she was still here, I was able to ask her a lot of questions about what goes on. So I've been able to do some homework and kind of have an idea of what to expect. So.
Thank you.
I had one question. So what would you do to communicate with the community? So that's always kind of like the hot topic, communication. What would you do, or what would you like to see in the future for communication from the board or school district to the community?
I'll go first.
Yeah, whoever. All of you.
I've seen Jennifer's Facebook. I've seen Steve's Facebook. So I see that as a means to communicate with the community for their, your name and school board member. I think that's a great way to do that. Another way, which again, being new here and not being here for a full year, I don't know if you do something like this, but maybe at the open house, it could be neat to have a couple board members and a table there where the community could come up and talk to 2 or 3 of us. I feel like, I don't know if there's an email or a way that people can send emails to the community, but there isn't. I think that would be a great way. A lot of people, I do feel, they don't want to feel rejected. They don't want to feel like they're there's confrontations, so I feel like if there's a way that people could quietly communicate, that would be a really great means for us to be in touch with the community more.
We live in a social media age. There's dozens of platforms now, and I think that's the most effective and the quickest way to get messaging out. There's a lot of, your personal page you could post on, or there's several community pages and groups that are all share information, they swap ideas and stuff, and that would be a good place to even poll some of our community members. If we know there's a thing coming up, hey, let's get your opinions on this. What do you guys think? Leave comments, shoot messages, whatever that would be. I think that would be the quickest, most effective method.
Obviously, social media, like the others had stated, that's definitely. I mean, we are living in that age. Being out in the community though, going to the events, sporting events, even as so much. We have town meetings, things like that, where you can get more into what I'd say the non-school directed people. You can reach out there. I just think too, just being in the community. I have the luxury of spending now my days running around this town, and I think you run into people at the gas station and stuff. And I think the biggest thing with that communication is just try to be approachable, and project that people can come and talk to you with their concerns. So I think just being available as a person, let alone, not just in a specific place or whatever, but just being someone that people can talk to, I think is a big part of that.
Thank you all.
So the board has committed at our last retreat, obviously we have meetings usually twice a month, but we also committed to spending some time in the buildings. And when I told our staff that a couple days ago, they were really excited about that. They want to see us. They want us to see what they're doing, what their struggles are, where they're winning, and how hard they're working. So we as a board have committed to shadow both some of our staff and some students. Would your jobs, lives allow for that to happen? That you could get off work and be available to be in our buildings?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, my schedule is very flexible.
So even though I'm a truck driver, my husband and I, we trade off every other week. So as long as I have enough notice, at least a week to 2 weeks, I can make it happen where I'm available to do that. I think that's a wonderful idea too. So.
Good, okay.
Yeah, and absolutely, yes, I would have the flexibility.
Okay, excellent. All right, any further questions, board?
I would say also, if we want to bring up too, that we also committed to our board workshops, or our board retreats, where we build as a board. So it's an additional thing, but it's truly has been so impactful for us. Even just the one that we've had this year, I felt has really helped bring us together. So, things like that, commitments get made. Again, I know you said that you'd be available, but that's something that's very important, I think, to the board, is that you would make those retreats and things like that.
Yeah, that was like a Sunday night, I think, kind of a one-off where the board can be a little bit more direct with one another, brainstorm together, not this formal setting. So that would be another obligation. Okay, good. Are we ready to vote? Sarah doesn't look ready. All right. Good? Everybody good?
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna vote and we will give those to Dana.
Yeah, you can only vote for one.
Just one.
Sarah.
No pressure that I'm standing over your shoulder.
Thank you all for doing this.
Yes.
Very much
Thank you for the
appreciate it.
Yeah.
You guys did a great
For
job.
having us here.
We do have a majority.
Excellent. All right. Congratulations, Josh. Thank you.
very much. Thank you.
All right.
Congratulations.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
But
Kevin.
still
Thank you,
remain
Alice.
active with us and knowing what we're doing, and it helps your kids and our community, so thank you very, very much.
I might not be here at the meetings like in person, but I watch them on YouTube, so.
Good, thank
I
you.
appreciate you guys do that.
And shameless plug, Glenbrook PTO is looking for people, so absolutely,
That's
it could
good.
be a
And I
great-
saw the flyer about that, I was like, well, I'm gonna wait and see what happens with this, but no, I really, I love Glenbrook, I think it's an amazing school, so.
It really is.
Yeah.
PTO president right there.
Yeah, we need one, so.
All right, excellent.
Thank
So
you.
we will get you sworn in here momentarily. I do have another citizens forum next. Does anybody want to speak? All right, very good. Next workshop meeting, September 4th at the Glenbrook Library. So we're taking the show on the road now. So Glenbrook Library. We're going to talk about 3D vision time, all the work they've been doing. I'm excited to see that, and then district and building goals for this year. All right, that's all I have. Then we just need an adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? All
I
those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all.
Good night.
hear you say so moved.
I didn't